the Webster County Board of Supervisors. It's 10 o'clock, December 30th. I'd like to thank everyone for coming today. The first item on the agenda is to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 1. I'll second.
A motion and second. Do we have any discussion on that? Any corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 2 is to receive and place on file drainage repairs. And today we have none. So we'll move on. Item number 3, to receive and place on file the resignation of Tony Jorgensen, Emergency Management Coordinator, effective January 2nd of 2015.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve item number 3. Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 4 will be withdrawn from the agenda, so we'll move on to item number 5, which is to receive and place on file manure management plan update on Berquist Farms in section 23/24 of Barton Township.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 5.
Second motion, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 6, I'll entertain a motion to remove from the table a request to discuss the abatement of property taxes against property at 110 7th Avenue North in Fort Dodge.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
The motion and second to remove from the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we now have on the table a request to abate property taxes against the property at 110 7th Avenue North in Fort Dodge. And Mr. Leffler was unavailable last week, and he had been doing some research into this.
I tried to research this. It was a little difficult. Not quite sure how it happened or why it happened, but basically we came up with the conclusion through looking at the documents that this property was taken back by the county and actually deeded, the county took the deed back in 2008 from the old owners, which technically then the taxes then weren't due any longer. Then the county subsequently deeded it to this MCS construction company, and that was in 2009. And so, looking at all those documents, it would be my opinion that we should be waiving the property taxes and penalties and interest from the February of 2009 date back. And I believe the city is also willing to waive their special assessments on the property. So up to that date, because the county took the property back by deed, rather than kind of what we're doing now is they stay on the books. And then we've been selling some of these properties, and we've been waiving the penalties and interest if somebody's interested in purchasing the property for the back taxes. That's kind of the way we've been doing it. For some reason, this property was actually taken back by deed. So my conclusion would be that we should waive the taxes, interest, and penalties prior to that sale date. But anything since then is still on the books and due. I believe a couple of the years have been paid, but they're delinquent now again. And I believe that the owner of this property has also, in the meantime, sold on contract the property to somebody else. So I would say that's a normal transaction. If they want to complete it, they have to pay the taxes from that. Whatever's due after the February 3rd of 2009.
I would certainly entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll second that.
A motion and second. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor of Mr. Leffler's motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 7 is to approve and authorize a transfer in the amount of $300,000 from the General Basic Fund to the Public Health Special Revenue Fund as per a non-current loan approved December 23rd, 2014.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 7. I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and second. Discussion?
This is for the second floor remodeling project for the main building, public health, moving to the second floor, as we discussed
favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 8 is to approve job descriptions for the Conservation Department's positions of Operations Supervisor and Vegetation Specialist.
Mr. Chairman, that was item 8.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Would Mr. Cosgrove care to make any comments on his grand
Sure.
scheme that he's got going
Sure.
on here?
This is just a couple cleanup items from last week, the items that were approved for the weed commissioner change. Here are the job description changes, so these will take place January 1st. There will be about a 6-month window then where Cody transitions Andy into this new position of vegetation specialist. So it'll provide a 100% employee at that rural services, where now it's 50-50 between general basic and low basic. So just a few housekeeping items that'll continue to move forward as we get closer to the next budget.
I don't want to catch you off guard here, maybe you talked about last week when I was gone, but could you give us a brief update on the ash, where you're at with the ash trees? I just noticed the city is buying trucks and adding on, and I mean, where do you think we're going to be set this next year for that?
What we put together, and it's been probably a few months ago, was a plan for ash removal on county properties. That included some inventory work here in the first, up until about the end of this year, so next week. We did identify about a little over 300 ash trees in Kennedy Park alone. So we set aside 75 of those this year that were cut down, majority of them in the campground, just because of when that does come through, it's a relatively short window to be able to take those down in a timely manner. So the staff has worked really hard over the last couple of months and has removed all of those 75 trees in Kennedy Park. Here over the next week or two, we'll be finishing up the inventory on the other areas. We're mainly just looking at the high use areas, not throughout the whole, woodland area and stuff like that. So we'll have that finished up and then we'll have a better picture. We still have a 3 to 5 year window. So some of our staff reorganization here is part of this and how we're handling this. It's taking some of those trail technicians and stuff like that, and when it's slower this time of the year, they're getting moved more into the natural resource side. So I think we're on target. Unfortunately, now it's been found in Boone, so that's a lot closer to us.
Yeah.
I think it's 18 counties now in Iowa that it's up to, so it's just a matter of time. So I think we're on track for still our 3 to 5 year window.
You able to salvage a lot of the wood, or?
Well, most of it ours is we're going to have a lot of ash firewood this next year in the campground. So now with the OHV campground coming online here this next year, we have twice the firewood split. So that's been the one benefit of it. The other thing we're looking into is some sort of a temporary sawmill or a movable sawmill. We can maybe make some large dimensional lumber out of this and be able to use it for ridge beams or some stuff, small scale trail type bridges and stuff like that, rural areas. And so we're looking at some of those options, weighing out whether that cost is worth that. Because you're gonna have to have a place to store that wood while it dries and deal with all that as well. So we are looking for some other uses for that too.
I appreciate it.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the job descriptions as described by the Conservation Director, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 9 is to approve and authorize the chair to sign a utility permit from Mid-America Energy to remove and relocate electric transmission pole to correct span links along the east side of Baxter Avenue near 2263 Baxter Avenue in Section 6 of Township 89 North, Range 30 west of Fulton Township.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Motion second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now comes the time for citizens to address the board with items that are not on the agenda. Anyone care to get up and address the board today? Step forward, please, and state your name and address for the auditor to record this.
David Patch, 1705 Baxter Avenue. And I've talked to some of the supervisors before the meeting, and I think that the roads in Johnson Township are, they're just being run down too far. There's not much work being done on them. Like I said, I only know of maybe 3 loads of rock or gravel that's been hauled in Johnson Township all year. I mean, things are getting pretty bad. I'm hoping you guys can help get something done.
We'll talk to the engineers after the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to address the board today? Seeing none, we'll move on to Board of Supervisors Committee reports.
a lot, Judy. Not only my time here, but I've worked for 30 years in real estate with you, so that office has been run very well for us. One other thing I just publicly say, because I'm on the Emergency Management Commission, with Tony's resignation, we will be right away getting on that. That board will be figuring out how to replace him.
Good luck, Judy. Was impressed with the number of people that were there and a wide variety as well. I also would like to, got my attention, the Iowa Good Roads Association has an advertisement pointing out the condition of our bridges and roads. Dave Scott is the lobbyist. He's also the lobbyist for the Iowa Truckers Association. Both associations are in favor of increasing our revenue for fixing roads. And finally, Iowa Road Builders Association, Scott Newhart, and he too is working hard down with increasing income for the roads. So I think the ball is rolling, and we'll see how well it goes.
Well,
I have one more thing. If you got an ATV, your license is due before the end of the year. Or boat, or anything, ATVs, boats, snowmobiles, motorcycle, or
Fishing licenses.
off-road licenses, they're all due before the end of the year, so.
and this will be your last chance. Right, Judy?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Judy, we would like, I know you saw this, but the board would like to recognize your 31 years of service to Webster County. I had this plaque made. There's a piece of the step missing out there, so watch your step. We have this, Judy Cosgrove, in appreciation for 31 years of service to Webster County. And we didn't have enough money to pay for a recorder.
Come on up, Judy.
So we got to do a little modification. So, thank you, Judy. And eventually someday we'll get it fixed.
Next,
Okay?
okay.
Don't worry about it.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to the party. It was great. Great turnout. It was very nice. And it's been great working with everybody. I'm going to miss everybody, but I'm looking forward to it. It's been a good ride.
Good. You deserve it. So,
Yes.
moving on, I'll take a motion to allow claims.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, and